All rise for the honorable passive income investor, as today I play judge, jury, and prosecutor against is Tesla stock overvalued. This has been one of the most craziest conversations in the markets right now, guys. We're going to go over a ton of valuation metrics, listen to some other YouTubers to see where they think Tesla's going to be, and I'm going to show you my own position and my own personal plans, but this has become a cluster of confusion for investors out there. When you're looking at articles like the Big Short investor Michael Burry reveals he's short Tesla, tells Musk to issue more stock at its ridiculous price. But then you head on over to Goldman Sachs, where Tesla jumps 5% after Goldman Sachs upgrades the automaker stock and boosts its price target by 40%. This stock has always been bipolar. You're either on one side or the other, and I'm going to try and be biased today, but we're going to take a look at some pretty crazy stuff. Now, a lot of people have been flipping out. Elon Musk released a letter that I think really shines a light on some of the fears, and their backs are really tied up right now. As in Elon Musk's letter to everybody, when looking at the actual profitability, it is very low, around 1% for the past year. Investors are giving us a lot of credit for future profitability, but if at any point they conclude that's not going to happen, our stock will immediately get crushed like a souffle under a sledgehammer. At least that's what I'm presuming he's saying is souffle. A lot of people were trying to figure out what he meant by that, but that is technically the French word for, that little dessert, crushing it with a sledgehammer. I don't know, just playing judge today, folks. I'm gonna go over some stuff with Tesla that's gonna blow your bloody marbles against the wall here, guys, because I don't think people understand Tesla's $564 billion market cap where it sits today. But let me put this in perspective. This is going to take a minute, folks, because this is a really large company, but Tesla right now is worth as much Uber, Lyft, General Motors, Ford Motors, Honda, Ferrari, Toyota, NIO, Nikola Motor Corp, Suncor Energy, British Petroleum, Northland Power, O Realty Income, RioCan, and Southern Company combined. Now, those are some pretty staggering comparisons here, as Tesla right now is worth more than Berkshire Hathaway and pretty much sits in the top 5 of the S&P top 10 companies. But let's keep in mind, Tesla has completely inspired a revolution in the entire auto market, in which they plan on obviously capturing many different parts of the sector, being self-driving, auto cars, obviously the manufacturing of vehicles. They're going to get into solar, battery walls. You've heard this story before, but this could end up being a complete pipe dream, as Elon said. Unless they can keep those revenues up and continue a pretty insane growth rate, it's going to be very hard to justify these numbers here, folks. And what I would like to do is get into some of the nit and gritty numbers based on one of the biggest YouTubers in the financial space, of course being Jeremy from Financial Education. I'm going to show you a quick clip of his bull thesis on Tesla, and then we're going to analyze it a little further.
And all these taxis that are in the robo-taxi network are all, let's say, with Tesla's insurance product. And imagine if the other tens of millions of people that will have Teslas by this point in time, if they all have Tesla insurance. You know what I mean? Like, you just start adding up all these things. Everybody has autonomous driving by this time. Like, no one's, I can't see people like buying cars without autonomous driving by this time. Like, that would just be like, what? And 2030 is a year where I think this company will reach the massive scale, and I think this will be the stage in the company where they can keep a flow-through rate steady around where it's at, okay? And so 2030 for this company, the granddaddy of them all, I see the company doing about $430 billion of revenue, and I see this company having about 85 billion plus at that bottom line net income, okay? This number's not crazy. Likely some of the biggest companies in the world by that time will be doing well over $100 billion of bottom line. Well over, okay? Tesla's gonna be one of the biggest companies in the future, in my opinion, when it comes to that top line. No doubt in my mind, okay? Just when I look at the numbers and the projections and things like that. And, I've seen other projections that some folks expect this company to be doing 500 billion, 600 billion plus in revenues by 2030. And that's why even at a $550 billion market cap, or let's just say 500 billion plus, that's why I still can't sell that stock in the public account. That's why I'm still holding it, because I'm just looking at these numbers I project out in future years, and I'm like, why do we got to sell it, man? You know what I mean? That's just such a hard decision at the end of the day, because you're looking at it and it's like, ooh, it looks really expensive.
If we base Jeremy's numbers and his conservative thinking here, guys, that Tesla could potentially be doing about $85 billion in net income 10 years from now, keep that in mind, a decade from now, that will only just be catching up to some of the largest companies in the S&P top 10 right now. Taking a look at Berkshire Hathaway, that currently did in 2019 $327 billion in revenue, is already did $81 billion billion in net income in 2019 against Tesla in 2019, which only did 24 billion in revenue and lost about $1 billion in net income. And he did a lot of comparisons to Apple. He says, Apple's up there with Apple's total revenue being 274 billion with their net income of $57 billion, guys. So everybody is kind of speculating that if Tesla can continue on its current growth rate, that it'll be sitting up there in the same kind of revenue and bottom line earnings as some of these top superior companies. If we take that assumption as though it is going to become a reality, that means that Tesla, if it can scale to those revenues, could have a potential market cap similar to something like an Apple that sits around $2 trillion. So based off these numbers, let's talk about the risk reward benefit right now. Is my current Tesla position that I've obviously been selling out of all the way up. I got 17 shares left, currently up 736%. What do I think about this moving forward? And I'm honestly going to tell you guys, I would have a real hard time buying Tesla up here because you cannot tell me that you can't go find another company like a very good company, another favorite of Jeremy's that has the more likelihood of doing a 5 or 10x for you over the next decade compared to Tesla right now that might have the likelihood of 4xing your money in the best case scenario over the next decade, guys. You are not going to get the kind of returns I think that we just got out of Tesla. If you were lucky enough, like I was, to be picking Tesla up at those numbers, you're never going to see a 700% gain like I'm seeing here. Like, you're going to have to be holding on to the stock quite an extended period of time when if you want to take on kind of the same assumed risk, but with companies that already have cash flow, you're better off buying Apple, you're better off buying Berkshire Hathaway purely for the fact of they're going to have a full decade of net income, guys. And they're going to have tens of billions to invest and continue to grow cash flows in a much more risk balanced level because again, guys, Tesla right now is a pinprick away from seeing their stock price completely implode. And I could say the same thing about the entire EV market right now. It is pretty much sitting in a bubble where people have literally priced in the next decade of its futures. So you guys are walking on a real thin line, whoever is buying the stock up here, and at which, even after going through all this data, guys, for the risk reward, it almost seems worth it to me sitting in my position being up so much just to completely sell out of the stock. So playing judge, jury, and prosecutor, I have never had such a hard time with a company that I have loved so much. I would really love to hold some of these shares in perpetuity moving into the future, but at this point in time, guys, I would feel so much better off taking as much profit as I can and even putting it into an S&P 500 index right now where I feel like the likelihood of me getting a better return is going to have a higher outcome because even now Tesla is going to get listed on the S&P 500. I could get exposure to it, and if it decides to just disappear, because God knows life isn't perfect, guys, and everyone has valued Tesla as though the next decade is going to be 100% perfect, and it's just not. I cannot foresee that happening. So it just makes sense. If you've been in the stock for a while, it is time to start selling as it runs up. I'm being a little critical, but I am a true fanboy of Tesla. They have made me enough money to buy one of their vehicles sometime down the road. I am very much looking forward to purchasing one of the vehicles, and I'm also looking forward to holding on to some of that Tesla stock as though it is like trading cards. Right now, valuations don't matter, but like Pokemon cards, I could wake up 15 years from now, and if I continue to hold on to say 5 or 10 shares, on the off chance that things actually just, being Elon Musk, I wouldn't bet against the guy because anybody that has been wrong. But in light of all of this, guys, I pass the question off to you. I am prosecuting this stock into the ground. I don't think anybody should be buying into the electric vehicle market right now. And you've had some pretty incredible opportunities to diversify your money into different sectors of the market, like the bank stocks, like the REIT stocks, and you would have seen an incredible return. Plus, you would have captured incredible dividend yields. But heck, who listens to me? I'm just a passive income investor. So stay cool. Stay awesome. And I look forward to catching you in the next episode of Judge Passive Income Investor.